Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in on the east side of the map playing in blue, we've got Beastyqt playing as the Mongols, and his opponent on the west side playing in red, it is Myriad playing as the English. Welcome everyone to Cliffside. Now I know what you guys are thinking, you know these player names, they don't say Beastie, they don't say Myriad, just assure me these guys are playing on accounts with different names, of course. Now Beastie playing a bit of a strategy here with well, a bit of a challenge. He's playing under the name Random, and that's because he's going random civilization. He's going to be playing random civilization on the rank ladder until he gets to rank 1. It's going to be kind of cool to see that challenge and how it pans out for him. On the west side, we've got Myriad playing as the English, going by the name But I can assure you it is Myriad. Hope you guys are having a great morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Going to be in for a banger of a game on Cliffside. One of my most favourite maps because both players are very, kind of close to each other. But also it's a game and map where you can actually wall up and make things a little bit slower tempo if you wish. I don't think we'll see that though, because the Mongols and the English are two civilizations that really do kind of chomp at the bit and they go at each other pretty heavily. So I'm kind of excited to see how this one will pan out. Back golds for both players, which is kind of nice, I gotta say, would help facilitate some greedy players if they wish to do so. Now, I would like to say a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it be on Twitch and YouTube. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Rule of thumb, I'd say, look, hey, if you've watched maybe 3 or 4 of my casted games on the channel already, that probably means you like the content. Make sure you subscribe so that you, don't miss another one. And I'll try and keep you updated with the very best games that I've ever casted. I'll only upload the very best games that I've casted on the channel because I know, I'm not going to be here to waste people's time. People's time's pretty limited these days with everyone busy with work and whatnot. So rest assured, if there's a video you see of mine, you click on it, you know it's going to be a banger. It's going to be Abbey of the King's landmark opening for the English. No real surprises there. A very prominent landmark at the moment. Unlocks a lot of potential for the English. It allows them to buy some time to do various different strategies. You can go for a fast castle, second town centre maybe. Sometimes even a second town centre into a fast castle. It's very typical kind of common build at the moment for the English. It's a very powerful one as well because it's very difficult to punish at times. You've got the English king putting pressure on your base if you're up against it. And then the English second town sort of timing is very fast anyway, and if they do play a very condensed economy, it's hard to raid, right? The English defense is incredibly strong with the extra attack from the, the extra arrow slits from the town centers, but also the network of castles bonus, of course, which is incredibly powerful for them. Now, the Mongols on this map, this is a rough civilization to get up. I don't think it's that great a map for the civilization. You can think about trade. So the trade, to be fair, actually, it's not too terrible. I've seen worse maps, right? So the Silver Tree, if he was to go for it, would be in the north corner. But of course, we're not going to see any of those shenanigans today. It's going to be the Deer Stones. Actually, wait, what's kind of interesting is the placement of the town center, right? Is he double producing villagers? Or he might be. We'll see if he does do that, because the Over is right, well, it's right next to the town center. Maybe that's a way for him to escalate the villager production. Could be an interesting thought. Could be an interesting thought for sure. We'll have to see. Either way, second town center placement, we can sometimes see it a little bit more expansive. For the English, a lot of civilizations have to play a very condensed economy with a second town center placement. The English though, I mean, they still only get 7 garrison or spots, but town center is a little bit extra well equipped to defend themselves. But they do often place the town center pretty close to the primary one, so you can get some farms in between, and then the White Tower for the castle age. It's a very standard build these days. Long gone are the days for the council hall, I gotta say. Gonna be building an outpost in the back here. Beastie trying to secure up that gold position. Despite it being a back gold, it's still obviously an area that can be attacked by the king. The movement speed is a good thing for the king for sure. Speaking of which, there he is right now as we speak. Moving across the map. Scout being annoying more than anything here for Myriad. The pasture opening as well. Is he double producing? Not yet. I think he may have though. He's on 21 villagers. He may have already done one. We'll have to keep an eye on that one, really. Either way, king backing off, and I mean the more important thing is that whilst not necessarily the king has got like value in terms of doing villager damage, he's forced down an outpost. That delays things for the Mongols, right? Going to be getting arrow slits as well. Typically done because of course get passive stone generation and they're collecting gold anyway. There's a second town centre on the back gold and the wood line. Right in between these two town centres, you can get a nice patch of 8 farms, really. I would like to say a very big thank you for everyone supporting on Twitch as well. Jumping on the live stream today, welcome on in. How's it going, Packer? If you guys are wondering what I'm talking about on YouTube, well, I am streaming live on Twitch these days every so often, so yeah, you're more than welcome to come say hello. I'd love to say hello to you live. I'll leave a link in the video description where you can find me on Twitch. I can't, just poking and prodding, pushing the scout away. King might dive on a little bit here. Can always repair and heal himself up, of course. He's going to try and delay things. Blacksmith opening with the stable. Looking to get those Keshiks out quickly. Here, Beastie. Just put a bit of pressure on the English. The second town set are already up and running for Myriad, so you know the villager count will be escalating, and it certainly looks like it's making a play for the castle age, right? With this number of villagers and gold, 6 of them, it's quite likely to be the case. Alrighty, let's see. Yeah, villagers going out to gold as well for Beastie, so certainly looking to go to the castle age. Packer asks in chat, what do you think of Wham's performance today? So there was actually a show match for guys watching on YouTube later. There was a show match between myriad and Wham. I will be casting some of those games, by the way, actually. To be fair, by the time this video is uploaded, you've probably seen a couple of the games. Packer, I'll answer that question after, just in case people haven't seen the games. I don't want to spoil it with them. But that's a good question, actually. I think there's a lot to be said about the Canadian brothers and how well they're doing so far at the moment. But I don't want to spoil anything, so we'll definitely hopefully look to come and address that question. But I think there's lots to unpack, especially against the first game versus myriad on Dry Arabia. I've already just casted that game. It is definitely a great game to watch. If you guys play as the English, or you go up against the English, which is probably a lot of you because it's a very popular civilization to play. The myriad versus Wham game on Dry Arabia, with myriad playing as the Byzantines and Wham as the English, was an absolute cracker of a game. I really broke it down. I spent a lot more time talking about strategy on that game because it was a really big, well, it was I wouldn't say a masterclass show. I don't want to give any spoilers, but it was a great game to talk about and think about the way that the Byzantines play, the way that the English play. So definitely worth a check out there for sure. I'll probably leave a link in the video description where you can find that actually, because otherwise you might not be able to find it easily. Either way, the Khan and two Khan, the Khan and 2 Keshiks just being a bit annoying, really. Poking and prodding. Thanks, Jetset. Appreciate the Prime subscription. Appreciate it. Hope you find the build orders useful. Alrighty, so with the second town set up for the English, that's going to mean his villager count is going to escalate. And I mean, I'm sure Beastie will be aware of this. The thing about the Mongols in this scenario, he does get the king in the end, which is a nice snipe. The Mongols staying one town centre does mean he's going to have to get that castle age timing like pretty solid and do some damage, right? Because if he doesn't, that English town centres, there's 2 English town centres, will start to run away with things a little bit. How's it going, Lyle20? Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Keshik's now just going to be trying to see what value they can get, but it's pushing in the deer camp as well, which is a great bit of source of food for Myriad. Not to mention the English farms already starting to establish themselves. Going to take a little bit of time for the castle age to pop on through, but it might garrison inside the town, so it's not really a position that Beastie can really take. Gonna have to back away. Might just be a bit annoying and try and push the deer away as far as possible. Scout just taking a bit of the charge in, Spearman chasing on in. Let's have a look. The question is whether the HRE builder is still viable. Absolutely, 100%. In fact, to be honest with you, they're more viable now than they have ever been. Because of the marching drills is now free for the HRE, so definitely a good time to play HRE feed leisure aggression. That's for sure. Just garrisoning the villages in the woodline. That's a bit of an exposed area. Maybe some palisades here could just shore things up a little bit for Myriad, but I'm not so sure he wants the wood investment into that because wood can be a bit of a scarce resource when you're taking up to the castle age. You don't have that many villages on wood typically. He's actually looking to wall up the palisades with palisades in the middle too to see the game out to the later stages. I like this play by Myriad, by the way, because of the fact that Beastie's on one town centre, the economy is just downright stronger here for the English. There's no doubt about it. And of course, with Beastie having gone for the deer stones, there's no real easy transition into trade for the Mongols. I'm kind of concerned for Beastie's position here, actually, because he will be outscaled villager-wise, and the castle age is not too far away for the English. The amount of damage that the English can take at this point is very limited. And this is kind of interesting to think about playing up against the English, is that maybe this works against a lot of other civilizations. What Beasty's trying to do is trying to go for a lot of aggression, being in the Castle Age tech up, but realistically he's trying to take advantage of being in the Castle Age earlier. But the two ways you can do that primarily is by getting relics, which he has got none of so far, and the other is by doing damage. The problem is that the English is probably one of the worst civilizations you can hope to do damage against. Their defensive capabilities are just too strong. So maybe it might be the case that Beasty thinks about opting for a second town center of him to try and catch up a little bit, but then going up against English in the late game is always a little bit tricky. I think this matchup is very tricky for the Mongols, I gotta say, at this stage. The way the meta is at the moment, the way that you can get the English king out nice and early, it always feels like a bit of a struggle, actually. I'm trying to think about how the Mongols can address this. Now, he's picked up one relic. Yeah, I think picking up the relics and then go for a second town center himself, the Mongols, is probably the play. But the trouble is that he didn't really take the timing. Yeah, he's got two prayer tents, to be fair, actually, so I might be made to eat my own words here. We'll have to see. My question is, what units does Myriad go for? He's got barracks already up and running, but I wonder if he goes for stable units. We do see a lot of stable unit play by the English. The reason for that is they can always retreat back to the Abbey of the Kings, right? They trade off a bit of HP and they go back and heal. It's a really nice way to play as the English. Myriad, though, he does lose a scout, so the field of vision will be severely limited. Just to back away, there's a spring on replacement with that outpost. It's a nice spot, actually. It means that can't really get too many run-bys. And he does lose a knight there. That's actually kind of painful. I want to keep those alive for as long as possible. And he's going to get his first monastery here. Myriad. But two of the relics, the third one being brought in already. So yeah, Beasty certainly is taking advantage of that timing. Trouble is, he's not been able to do too much damage with his Castle Age tech up. But he's picked up relics nonetheless. But I would love to see him opt for a second town center. It almost looks like he's saving up for another wood. He's got a decent amount of wood in the bank, so maybe he's opting for it. The girl needs to actually deploy though. There it is. Knight will pick off a shaman, just to limit the amount of relics he can get. Another shaman on the west side, which Myriad needs to keep an eye on. There's a relic still here up for grabs. It's picked up another two, so almost four in the bank. This could be a massive haul of relics, a really good haul of relics. This should set him up nicely for the late game. Of course, though, the English can get the enclosures upgrade to try and counteract that in the Imperial Age. It looks like Imperial Age is something that the English are kind of gunning for at the moment with the palisade walls in the southeast. Given a bit of map position for that though. I wonder if Beasty could opt for even a sacred site victory win condition, because this one is outside the walls and Myriad's walls are a bit more conservative here. Speaking of walls, those walls might go down pretty quickly. Beasty looking to break on through. Oh, Shaman is going to be spotted out. Unfortunate there for Beasty. Myriad paying close attention. So that should be his relic. At least he's going to pick up one, but 4 relic haul for the Mongols. Not a bad play at all. But I'm fully expecting to see a second town center here. Although, no, he's going to go for more stables. Oh, I don't know how I feel about this. This is kind of an interesting play. He did go for the step out, by the way, so gold income should be pretty strong. But he's going to miss out on the coral type bonuses. There was one bit concerned about his wood investment into production buildings rather than a second town center, is that this is not an all-in play as such, but it's one where he's on a timer. Like, BC has to do damage in the next 20 minutes, otherwise it's going to be very tough for him, because he'll be behind on economy. If he doesn't do damage in the next 20 minutes, then he'll have to delay the game for like another 20 minutes after that, just to try and nullify the benefit of the greater economy that the English have been able to accumulate for now. He's going to go for traction trebuchets, so yeah, starting to put some pressure on, getting some outposts for some vision, and to protect those trebuchets. Knights diving on in, denying the gold position here, which is actually kind of huge. Step it out, taking a while to get there. Oh wait, step it out. He spots it, right? So Myriad will be aware of the goal situation. He recognizes that goal's a bit tricky for Beasty. Could have gone for the back goal, but Beasty wants to take the forward goals first. Understandably so, because when you have map control, you want to make the most of it by picking up, key resources on the map, and picking up key objectives like the sacred sites and of course those relics, which Beasty has done such a great job so far already of getting 4 of them. The farming transition well underway for the English, and this is where things become a little bit scary for the Mongols, because of course a pasture transition is not as cheap as it is an English transition to farms. Bear in mind those farms are a great investment for the future, the Imperial Age enclosures will really make them worth their while. 3 traction trebuchets though on the field versus the one from the English. The English one, what if he's got shattering projectiles? I don't think he has a siege workshop even, actually, to be fair. He's making them from the White Tower. The king does get sniped in the end, actually. I'm not sure where he was before he died, but he died a painful death most likely. Must be up in the north. I think the shattering projectiles is in the Imperial Age anyway. Yeah, back out. I think it is in the Imperial Age, yeah. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but if you say so, I'd take your word on it. Spearman about to dive on in, which is, it might be a bit of a... I mean, to be fair, he might get 1 trebuchet, and I think if he gets 1 trebuchet, it's probably worth it. But the question is, will he? Villagers might come out to repair. Yeah, he should get 1 in the end. Nice pick off. Quite a few shaman there healing on up. I mean, the range units, if they're kited well, will do a decent amount of damage. Mostly crossbowmen. And it's quite common that you see this play for players against the English, because of course you're always worried about the man-at-arms coming out for the English, right? So there's a definite clear play towards the crossbows. The one thing I'm a little bit concerned about, though, is if the English do start to think about Wingard Palace as an option for the Imperial Age. Wingard Raiders, or Riders, Wingard Raiders actually, or even the Wingard Footmen could be powerful against the crossbows if they can get gap closed, if they can get close to them. Might be losing that trebuchet though. Maybe he went a bit too far away. It's still technically in the range of the White Tower, but there's no villagers here to repair. Wait, I think the trebuchet will live. It lives for now. The White Tower is just a bit too strong. Crossbow's pushing out though. But there's not much of a meat shield here for Beasty, so it's got to be careful that there's no meta units. I wonder if there's going to be any horsemen popping out soon. Horsemen in good numbers could be a nice switch out for Myriad. Kind of struggling on the food count to do so though. But at this point, it really is just about Myriad defending, right? We talked about that earlier. With Beasty's reluctance to add in a 2nd town centre means that economy has just always been scaling this whole time for Myriad. And he's bought a decent amount of time, right? He bought a lot of time with the Palisades. He doesn't have all that military, but it's always hard to push on the English. Springold might pick up Trebuchet for free. Does get it in the end. He's going to back away. In Myriad's economy, it's going to be booming pretty soon. It really is going to be down to the Mongols doing some damage. Now granted, the number of Mongol relics that are in play does counteract the villager boom a little bit. But we are talking a good 40 extra villagers. 30 actually. 30 extra villagers. Definitely a good lead on that. Snaps a Springald as well. We'll get Springald of his own though. Myriad picks one off and manages to recover with 2 there, Beasty. Looks like he's going to go for a massive siege push actually. So instead of adding a 2nd town centre, this is kind of a curious play actually. So it looks like Beasty had 2 options really. Could go for a 2nd town centre, which he didn't do. And he's actually opted for mass siege to do some damage. It's a tricky one, right? Because it feels like the English can defend pretty well. Considering the fact they don't even need a siege workshop, they can just mass produce from the White Tower. It's effectively having 2 siege workshops for free. Just by virtue of having that age up. Now granted, the Mongols can just make the siege on the ground. Loses a Springald here, Myriad. He does have good numbers, Beasty, but Spearman being chucked at this, and I kind of like this for Myriad because he's chucking away kind of food and wood units for gold units if he can get on top of those crossbows. Khan dies, and well, means that he's being pushed back even further. Loses another traction trebuchet, which is a big deal. Now, Beasty does have almost 1,000 wood. He's floating a bit. Maybe he's opting for a 2nd town centre. Maybe 3 to catch up. And mass production buildings. He's finding it difficult to hold on though, would you believe? I think the economy's starting to really kick in for Myriad. Getting a bit of control back into the middle. But he will need some siege to deal with this outpost. He had a couple of trebuchets earlier. Oh, there's the 1 trebuchet. It's working hard. I'll take that outpost pretty quickly, and there's not that much that Beasty can do to deny it. Well, he's losing 2 Springals for free. That was a bit of a mistake there by Myriad. There's no reason for them to really be there. That's unfortunate. But Beasty down to 8 military, down to 64 villagers. That is looking dicey. I mean, this is a really rough spot, right? Being behind on villagers and military at this point. The English economy have really taken over. It feels like that 2nd town centre play possibly could have been a better option. Either way, villagers in goal now having to back away. This is where things become really tricky, right? Behind an economy, behind a military, behind a map control now. And the kind of crazy thing for the English is that actually it's around about now, the 20-minute mark, where the gold veins in the middle of the map become a lot more relevant, right? Because you've got the primary gold veins that you can take advantage of in the early stages of the game. But the time that gold veins needed in the middle of the map is kind of like now. Having said that, though, Beasty did prioritize the gold in the middle initially before he took his primary gold. So he does have this gold that he can rely on. And I think that's a key bit of detail, by the way. We mentioned it earlier in the game where when you've got map control, you've got to make it count, right? In case you lose it. And guess what? Beasty's starting to lose that map control. He did mine about 2,000 odd, almost 3,000 gold there. So he's bought himself some time. You know, he's kind of delayed running out of gold on the back just as well. Looks like Myriad, though, possibly thinking about the Imperial Age. He's got a good number of units as a standing army to help him get there, although there is a mangonel. He's going to have to be careful here, Myriad. He's going to try and get on top of the trebuchet if he can. He should take out the trebuchet. I think he's being body blocked a little bit. Mangonel's deploying, getting some good shots. There's a second mangonel popped out from the siege workshop. Really good shots here by Beasty. But he loses one mangonel. He lost the trebuchet. One mangonel repairs, and I think overall it's a good trade for Myriad. I mean, he's bought time, right? And that time is precious because he's going to be going to the Imperial Age soon. Now, you could potentially think about getting a Berkshire Palace in a forward spot. Like here, it could be a really nice spot to solidify the middle position. But it could equally go for the Wingard Raiders or the Wingard Palace. I'm kind of curious to see what he decides to do, actually. Because we have seen a big switch and momentum change over to the Wingard Palace over the Berkshire Palace in recent games. But you could make an argument for the Berkshire here. You can equally make an argument for the Wingard. Time will tell. Either way, he's going for the armoured clad upgrades. So it's definitely going to be looking to be a switch into man-at-arms, which is a big deal because it's something that I'm not sure Beasty's prepped for. He had been producing a lot of crossbows earlier, but yeah, he's got a decent number, to be fair. He's got a decent number. But the big concern is if he does take into a lot of crossbowmen, if he does go for the Wingard Palace here, Myriad, he could get a lot of the Wingard Raiders. Especially for those horsemen, it could be punishing. We're seeing a lot of cavalry play by the English these days, and understandably so. They're really shaking up the meta. It is indeed going to be the Wingard Palace. Going to be building it with 13 villages. Beasty nowhere really near towards the Imperial Age, so this is going to be a bit of a tough hold for him. Next 15-20 minutes is possibly where Myriad has a good window of opportunity to win the game. It's going to be about Beasty's ability to defend, and I don't envy that position. It's going to be a tough one, right? Because the Mongols, they're not really known for their defensive prowess. They're the ones that really want to be tempo aggressive. They're the ones who really want to be putting pressure. And it's going to try and put that pressure down in the south. A new Khan rises. Rises from the ashes, and there's that Wingard Palace being built by 13 villagers. Going to get there pretty soon. Looks like Beasty trying to make a move in the north with a good number of archers and Keshiks. We'll pick off a couple of villages, by the way. So Beasty trying to do some damage, but ultimately it's just really tough, right? Going up against two town centers, you lose a villager, and then make them back quickly. No doubt about it. Beasty's army being pushed back now. He was temporarily pushed off a goal, but that becomes a little less relevant now, right? Because enclosures quite likely to be a tech that Myriad is going to go for. And there it is. It is queued up. Going for the elite upgrade to the or veteran upgrade, actually, to be fair. Picking off a Keshik or two. No, it's actually 0 income for gold. Yeah, I mentioned it on Twitch chat. There is actually 0 income for gold, which is kind of crazy. Now, Myriad will lose this army. But it buys him time, right? He wants to buy time. That's what he needs to do. Get these elite upgrades, and they'll be coming full force. Is this a misclick? I don't know. Like, it feels really weird that Beasty's not on gold. Because it almost felt like he got the stepbread out here, and the villagers didn't go to it. This is an issue. I'm not sure why he's not getting gold. Because he's not... This is rough, right? Because even if he doesn't want to make gold units, he needs gold for at least for Imperial Age. And he's just relying on gold from the relics for now. He's going to try and raid as much as he can. I would love to see some more walls actually from Myriad. Trying to narrow the gap. I think this is an area that he needs to wall up. This is where a lot of damage is coming in from Beasty. How's it going, JD Sport? Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well, buddy. My concern for Beasty at this stage is, can he buy enough time to maybe just equalise the villager count? I think it's something he has to aim towards. Even then, it would take a brave man to go up against the English late game. But they don't come much more braver than Beasty. The closers is in now, so these villagers are going to be getting both food and gold. Not too shabby at all. Goes somewhat to counteract the relic income that Beasty's getting, diving in with a couple of veteran horsemen and veteran Keshiks. Hasn't been able to get the palisade walls up just yet here, Myriad. And he's suffering because of it. He's struggling to get gold himself, actually. Militia numbers starting to build up once again for Beasty. But I gotta say, without siege, it feels like it's a bit problematic. Guess what Myriad is going for? He's going for Wingguard Footmen. You love to see them. 280 HP on them. 22 axe melee damage, plus 5 against cavalry. I love this play actually, because there's a lot of cavalry on the field for Beasty. Bear in mind, I don't think Elite Army Tactics is in just yet for Myriad, so this actual HP count increases significantly. I believe it goes up to 330, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, as a unit. Almost starts to get on to, in terms of sort of Order of the Dragon type stats of units, and we know how powerful those guys are. 4 mangonels. Waiting at home, not getting too much value with them though, the Beastie, which is kind of surprising, right? I often see him use the army to its max potential. Possibly feels reluctant to head out yet before the Imperial Age comes on in. Understandably so, once those Imperial Age upgrades. Well, the White Stupa is the landmark. Yeah, there it is. These villages are going on gold, by the way. I think that might have been a misclick earlier, which kind of hurt him a little bit. Either way though, Imperial Age will be coming in soon. Mangonels deploy. Now, Myriad knows what he's up against. Only one Springald, that's not going to cut it. The siege advantage for the Mongols actually looking pretty decent. 2 Springalds, massive amount of mangonels. 4 of them. Does lose a Springald. I take it back. Myriad comes in with 3 Springalds in the end. And there's no Springald defense for the Mongols. He might lose a lot of mangonels. That's the last thing he's going to want to do. He's lost 2 mangonels. That is absolutely huge. In a position where he's just about to go to the Imperial Age. He needed those mangonels as a standing army to try and defend what is definitely going to be a push in now for the English. 2 mangonels still remain. 3 Springals, they're going to try and snipe them out. There's one more going down. This is not great for Beastie whatsoever. And loses the other mangonel too. And that allows the Trebuchet now to start to slowly move on forward and do some infrastructural damage, which is exactly what Myriad needs to do now to try and see out the game. The game is not over just yet because there has been a lot of raiding damage coming in, by the way. There's lots of villagers being killed left, right and centre. Beastie ultimately has killed 56 villagers. And so second town centre, whilst it's done a lot of work for the English, villager count is not looking all that amazing. It's still higher than what the Mongols have, but Beastie's done a great work of raiding for sure. And maybe this game is not over just yet. Beastie's holding. He needs to find a way to hold this push down the middle though. This is looking dangerous. Has plenty of outposts with emplacements in them. He needs some more. He needs time for the Imperial Age upgrades to come on in. And he's getting them now. A big concern for Beastie is how does he deal with this army composition? Crossbows, man-at-arms, hand cannoneers, Wingguard footmen, you name it, he's getting it. The big trouble is that Beastie, having been out of gold for such a long time, has had to go for veteran archers. You know, it's always a bit of a concern when you see archers in the late game. They're not a unit that scales well at all, and so this is going to be really difficult for Beastie, because whatever limited army he does have is very weak. And it's reflected in the army value. Either way, Myriad pushing on in. Beastie has one tight hold on to make. Now he's going to be fighting underneath his outposts with emplacements. That's got to be his win condition to try and somehow hold on. The biggest problem is the trebuchets on the back line. Without Springalds for the Mongols, it's a tricky situation. The Mongols, they're usually adept at getting siege, but today it looks like it's Myriad coming in with the siege. 2 Springalds. He's going to have to micro his heart out here, Beastie. He needs to take out the Springals from the English. He loses one. He takes one. But there's a third one coming in for Myriad at the perfect time, and that third Springald that came in for the English is absolutely clutch. Horseman trying to dive on top of them, but the damage has been done. Beastie has lost his 2 Springalds. That means that Trebuchet is still working hard. Forward outpost going there for the English, going to be extending that network of citadels bonus. Going to be giving that extra 40% attack speed, and Beastyqt is really struggling. Down to 87 villagers, down to 23 military. The raiding is no longer possible because ultimately, if Beastyqt sends any limited resources, any limited army on the flanks, it's going to leave him even more exposed down the middle. Springald popping out, and that might be going down before it gets even a shot off. This is looking dicey for the Mongols. It's looking dicey for Beastyqt. Man at Arms about to dive on in the economy. Bear in mind, all of the food economy for Beastyqt and the Mongols is very concentrated in one spot. So if that gets jumped on, it's going to be a problem. Wingard Palace, definitely a great addition to the arsenal of the English, I gotta say. Haven't seen it all that often, but it's definitely making a move. It's definitely becoming more prominent as a choice for the English, and you can see why. He's pumping out those units. He's even gone into some of the Wingard Rangers. Diving in once more. The pressure is just absolutely unrelenting. Now, he does have a couple of hand cannoneers. Beastyqt has stabilized somewhat, but the question is, has he stabilized enough? The bigger concern is that now the push coming in with the outposts for the English is going to solidify these positions. It's something that the Mongols have often done, but look at the man-at-arms. They're tanking so heavily. Even the hand cannoneers are struggling to take them out. Springals in the back line starting to get taken out. The Mongols are struggling. Beastyqt struggling. Wingard Rangers, they're heading in mass as well. Getting a massive range on them, and the hand cannoneers can't outrange them. The hand cannoners getting taken out by the Wingard Rangers, and he's losing his army. Beastyqt, he's finding it a hard hold. I don't think he has enough steam. And now the English might start to pressurize that food economy. If that goes down, it will be curtains for Beastyqt. It will be curtains for the Mongols. 2 Springals still remain. That's pretty much what he's all got left here, Beastyqt. I don't think he has much left at all. 5 military, there it is. He taps out. Well, he has to, really. No choice. The English come in clutch with those Wingard units. A great game of Age of Empires 4. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you do give the video a thumbs up. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. Take care and see you next time.